How to stop overthinking, starting today. Literally no one chooses to overthink. It's one of the most unpleasant experiences going when your brain is just racing. It can be the smallest thing that triggers it. For instance, you might be, all of a sudden you really need the toilet and suddenly you start thinking, oh, what if I didn't get to the toilet? And then you start thinking back to a time when maybe you didn't get to the toilet, like for instance when you were 8 and you were at a Halloween party with all your friends and you wet yourself in front of everyone. Not that that happened to me. Sound familiar? I don't mean the Halloween thing, that would be oddly specific, and if that is you, then you have my sympathy. No, I mean the thing where your brain just starts rolling around with thoughts that are racing through your head. If that resonates with you and that makes sense and you would like to stop that feeling, then you're in the right place. In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you 10 different ways in which you can stop yourself from overthinking straight away. Number 1. Stop calling yourself an overthinker and stop calling yourself a worrier. I mean, the labels that we put on ourselves really do have a huge impact on how we then interact with people and ourselves moving forwards. Like, for instance, in school, the class clown then feels like they have to play up. The person that gets called the funny one or the fun one feels under pressure to then maintain that kind of personality of being funny or fun, and perhaps they won't discuss their problems. So the little labels that we place on ourselves or are placed onto us by others do actually affect us. So if you kind of say to your friends or say to family, oh, I'm a bit of a worrier, stop it. Honestly, seriously, have a think to yourself. How is that possibly helpful to you? How is that possibly helping you to overcome this issue where you're kind of overthinking? So rather than saying I'm an overthinker or I'm a worrier, you can change it to I am worrying at the moment. I am overthinking at the moment. So stop using these labels on yourself. Trust me. Number 2, stop thinking, start solving. Our brains are so powerful, but only if we use them in the right way. So if you start thinking about something and then you think about the impact of that and then what someone might think, then what someone might say, and you're kind of going down that route, that isn't getting you any closer to getting that problem solved. In fact, it's doing quite the opposite. It's putting all of your brain power into which isn't a word, but it's going into absolute nothingness, which isn't actually going to help you get any further. So if you can catch yourself when you're overthinking and say, am I actually thinking about something which is going to get me closer to a solution, or am I just thinking a load of crap? And if you're thinking a load of crap, stop yourself and say, what could I do, what could I think about to help myself right now? Number 3 is to distract yourself. Really good thing to do, because if our brains are thinking or overthinking, then they are busy, they want stuff to do. So if you've been told before by people, oh, well, you've just got to do some mindfulness, so you've got to do some meditation. It's like, yeah, you try and meditate or do some mindfulness when it feels like there's a racing car going round and round and round your head that's been ridden by a horse. It's basically impossible when the brain is going that fast just to sit there and go, I'm just going to chill out now, because the brain just keeps going and going and going. So rather than trying to kind of, stop it dead, it's actually much better to go, hey brain, there's a shiny thing over here. Oh, look at that. Do something that is going to occupy your mind, whether that's a physical activity such as running or weightlifting or whatever, or whether it's something mentally taxing, like a crossword puzzle or a Rubik's cube, or you can do something creative, do some writing, something like that. Do something that is going to get you out of your own head. Number 4, this is so simple as well. Stop judging yourself for thinking. I mean, seriously, you're human, you're going to think. And if you've got an issue in your life, you're going to think about it. So all that time that we can beat ourselves up and say, well, shut up, stop thinking, shut up, brain. You can do that sort of thing. How does that help you? It just makes you feel rubbish, so like you're kind of hating on yourself and beating yourself up. You're human, you're going to think about this sort of thing. So just give yourself a bit of a break and say, yeah, I'm thinking about that thing that's bothering me at the moment. It's fine. Give yourself a break. Honestly, the more you fight it, the more you will feed it and the worse it will seem. So just stop fighting it and stop beating yourself up. And on a similar note, number 5, stop judging the thoughts that you're having as well. I mean, our brains can think absolutely anything, literally anything whatsoever. But No one's ever been like put in jail for wanting to punch their annoying boss in the face. If you have been wronged by someone and then you kind of start thinking about wishing harm on them, that doesn't make you a bad person, that makes you human, because your brain kind of starts thinking about revenge and stuff like that. Having thoughts and acting on thoughts are two very, very separate things. One's over here, one's over here. They're very, very different things. And just because you think something, oh, I thought that means I'm an awful person. No, it doesn't. You just had a thought. There's no thought police at the moment. Having thoughts about anything is absolutely fine. It's acting on them that's the problem. So if you think something, even something really dark, say, that's fine. I had a thought. Sue me. No one has to know about it. And whilst we're on the subject of thoughts, number 6 is remind yourself that your thoughts are not facts in any way. So just because you think something doesn't mean it's factual. I mean, I could say that, I'm thinking that foxes are green, or I'm thinking that, Beyonce is absolutely hideous. Now, none of those things then automatically become true just because I'm thinking them. They're just some things I'm thinking or some words that I'm saying. Thoughts and facts are very different. So if you're caught in a moment where you're kind of thinking all this stuff and your brain's going around, catch a thought and just say to yourself, hang on a minute, this thing that I'm thinking right now, is there actually any evidence to support that whatsoever? And if it hasn't got any evidence, if there's no truth behind what you're thinking whatsoever, just go, well, I'm going to stop thinking this now because it's not true and it's wasting my time and it's making me feel like shit. So we're going to put that in the bin for now. Number 7, you're not Darren Brown. And if you don't know who Darren Brown is, he's a British mind reader, famed for knowing what people are thinking. And you are not one of those. Well, if you are, just ask yourself, do I know what people are thinking all of the time, or any of the time? Do I actually know categorically what someone is thinking? If the answer is yes, then go and get yourself a stage show. If the answer is no, then stop thinking that stuff. Because so much worry and overthinking and angst comes from the idea of, oh, they are going to find out this about me, and then they're going to think this, and then they're going to do that. You don't know that. Sometimes people will really surprise you with what their thought process is when they find out something. So just saying, oh, I know they're going to think that. No, you don't. You don't know anything. And if you do, then go and get your stage show. If not, shut up. I wasn't being rude, but stop pretending you know what people think, because you don't. Number 8, almost similar, but stop projecting. Now, if you don't know what projecting is, it's the idea of putting your own thoughts about yourself into someone else's head. It's not by some sort of mind ray. But good example, let's say that someone's come out of a relationship, and as a result of that relationship, they are then feeling very unattractive and they're feeling very unlovable. Then some time passes and they decide they're going to get back on the dating scene, and they meet someone on a well-known dating app and they start chatting to them, and then they send a photo of themselves, and then all of a sudden that person, it feels like that other person's gone, they sent the photo's gone a bit quiet, they've cooled off a little bit. Now, what happens then, what can happen then, is that because that person starts thinking that they aren't very attractive and they aren't very lovable, they say, oh, well, I sent a photo of myself and I thought I looked good in that photo, but then they've kind of pulled away and they're not talking as much. So that must mean that they think that I'm not lovable and they think I'm not attractive, then I'm not lovable, I'm not attractive. What happens is, because you believe that to be true, that then feeds in to kind of reassert the fact that you are unlovable and unattractive or whatever it might be. So this is a cycle that goes round. It's not like a cycle, to be honest, it's more of a spiral that goes down, because the more something is reasserted to ourselves, the more that we believe it. So the more that we project, the worse we're going to feel about ourselves. A huge amount of overthinking comes from living in what-if land. What-if land doesn't actually exist. It's a land of infinite possibilities that doesn't exist, because it's in the future and the future doesn't exist yet. Ooh, spooky. But the idea is that if you are getting into your own head saying, well, what if this happens? And then that would mean that, and then this, and before you know it, you've got your brains and you're selling a kidney just to have a Weetabix or whatever. When you say to yourself, well, what if this happens? Okay, fine. Think that, ask yourself that, but only if you're also happy to ask yourself, well, what if it didn't happen? Because the things that we say, oh, what if this happened? They are normally statistically very, very, very unlikely. They just aren't going to happen. And whatever happens will happen. But sitting there going, oh, what if this happened? And what if this happened? And what if this happened? And trying to create some sort of action plan for every conceivable possibility is exhausting. And you end up just having a mental fight with an imaginary scenario or multiple imaginary scenarios, most of which gravitate towards things being pretty crap. So you're ending up fighting these powerful imaginary demons in your head, which are based in the future, and if any of them happen, only one can actually happen. So you're just going to exhaust yourself and make yourself feel rubbish. So stop doing that. So what do you do instead? Well, ask yourself, do I know the future? And if you do, then can you sort it out for me and sort it out for the rest of the world and just kind of point us in the right direction so we know what to do? If in all likelihood you don't know the future, stop putting so much onus on it, because you're just going to make yourself feel crap. Number 10, let go of the things that you can't control. Now, this is one of the hardest things to get your head around and is very, very difficult, which is why I've left it till last. There's two things which we can control. We can control our thoughts and our actions. There's so many things that people like to worry about which are not in that kind of very small bubble. The past, someone's opinion of you, what someone else thinks, what anyone else says or does, when someone messages you back, how people interpret what you've said or done, that's a good one. Other people's happiness, the future, the weather, anything that isn't our thoughts or our actions. You cannot control any of that, and that is stuff that we like to worry about. So what do we do about this? So when you notice that you're thinking or overthinking about something, just try and grab a thought, or just take a step back and look at the whole situation and go, okay, right, what can I control here? And then maybe even write down what you can control in this situation. And once you've done that, you can say to yourself, okay, well, what can I do about this now? I've got these things I can control. If there probably isn't very much. I've got these things I can control, right? What can I do about this? I don't know, I'm looking at an imaginary list here. And write down the things that you can actually do about the situation. And then do them. And then, by your own admission, you have to say you've done everything you can about that situation. And then put it out of your head. Use any of the other, tactics that I've just said to, stop yourself thinking all of this stuff, because you've done everything you can do about it. So what else is there left to do? Nothing. One or two of the things that I've just gone through will have resonated with you. The other one might have gone straight over your head or you just didn't like for whatever reason. But one or two of them hopefully have resonated with you on some level. So as soon as you notice yourself overthinking, use one or two of these different tactics to stop yourself from overthinking. Well, the trick here is to actually start noticing when you are overthinking. Now, this may or may not happen very, very quickly, and it doesn't matter when it happens. You may be overthinking for an hour before you notice that you're overthinking, but that's fine. Then the next time you start overthinking, hopefully it will be less than an hour before you notice, and hopefully be within half an hour or something like that. But noticing yourself overthink is a skill, and it's a skill because it's a skill which you can get better at by repetition. So if you keep noticing yourself overthinking and then combat the kind of overthinking with some of the tactics that I said or something else, whatever it might be, and then just keep that cycle going. That's the cycle that actually feeds into itself, but in a positive way. So you will get better and better. The better you get at noticing, the more you will kind of stop yourself from overthinking, and then the better you'll get at noticing again. And it's kind of this thing where success with it will breed more success, and you'll get better and better and better at it. So that is how you stop yourself overthinking. Now, if you've enjoyed this video, then you can download an anxiety cheat sheet at bit.ly/anxiety cheat sheets. There is a link appearing here, unless I forget to do it, in which case it's just a weird action. Or if you're really interested in getting control of your anxiety and reducing it, then you can get my course, which is called Anxiousness to Awesomeness. It is a 4-week online course, and details of that are in the kind of text, which is, and also put a link also here. That was weird. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed this. Like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. And I'll catch you for another video soon.